Meeting is called to order. The time is 7 p.m. Public portion of the meeting begins. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Business Administrator Board Secretary has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, communicated to the Herald News, the Record, and filed with the clerk of the Borough of Hawthorne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carr.
Here.
Mr. Clavio.
Here.
Mr. Doyle.
Here.
Ms. Ehrentraut.
Here.
Ms. Mulkey-Coulson is absent. Mr. Palouse, absent. Mr. Shortway, absent. Mr. Zataro.
Present.
And Mrs. Goff.
Present. Please stand and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. During each meeting, 2 opportunities are provided for citizens to ask questions and to make comments. During the first opportunity early on the agenda, the meeting is open to the public for the purpose of addressing items listed for approval on this agenda only. The second opportunity occurs just prior to adjournment, when citizens may address any subject matter that is pertinent to and/or directly related to the operation of the school district. Persons wishing to speak must, upon being recognized, rise, state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments and questions shall be addressed to the board president or the presiding officer and shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by members of the public at the time they are raised, but will provide a response if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Please note that the board will not respond to comments regarding students or board employees in light of the privacy rights held by those individuals. Moreover, the board discourages comments about such individuals and will not be responsible for such comments. Members of the public who choose to speak during this public session should carefully consider their comments, since they could be held personally liable for any statements they make. Finally, please note that in accordance with district policy, the board will not officially comment or respond to any matter mentioned unless it can confirm the matter has first been brought to the attention of the appropriate school personnel in an attempt to resolve the issue. Public be heard, agenda items only.
Hi, Toby Murphy, 49 Frederick Ave. I have a question about P11 on page 5. It's the NJSLA test prep.
Yes.
I was wondering what schools and subjects, if it's both ELA and math.
Yes, so we're just providing some before and after school assistance for students. I believe this is Washington School we're providing, although there's some teachers here from Jefferson School as well. So I can get you specifically what schools. I know it's Washington and I believe Jefferson as well. But so I'll get you specifically, what other schools are involved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that came up a couple of months ago in a CNI report.
It did.
We did want to have that at all buildings, but we could not find the personnel to run it in all buildings.
But Tony, I'll specifically give you.
Okay, great. And do you know, is it math or?
I'll contact you. I'll send you all that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Approval of the minutes from February 20th, regular, public, and private. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Carr, seconded by Mr. Clavijo. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Mr. Clavio.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes.
Ms. Ehrentraut.
Yes.
Ms. Mulkey-Coulson.
Yes.
Mr. Palouse.
Yes.
Mr. Shortway is absent. Mr. Zataro.
Yes.
Mrs. Goff.
Yes. Correspondence, I do have something. Dr. Streeter, do you have anything for correspondence?
not.
Okay. I filled out something as a professional, but it also applies here. It was the Senate, hold on, I'm not prepared. I don't have my, Okay. I completed a request for the State Senate to look into revamping the teacher, my brain is not right today. The teacher, evaluation process and SGOs. It's terribly time consuming on the part of the teachers and on part of the administration, and quite frankly, I don't think it is worth its weight. So there is a bill that was voted on this week. I have to follow up, but I was contacted by Asim Barlis of Wayne and an assemblyman, and they said that they will take what we are saying into consideration, and that they were happy that we reached out. I don't have the exact bill number here, but it was to revamp that process of evaluation to make it less cumbersome, and they did write me back, and they did know. I wrote to them from my school email address, but they wrote to me as a trustee, so apparently they're making some connections. But in any event, I was happy to write to them because it is terribly cumbersome, SGOs, and from both sides, all hats that I wear, I think the teachers deserve a different way to be evaluated, quite honestly. It's just too much paperwork. That is the only correspondence that I have. Dr. Cerrito has no correspondence. Student council representative.
Thank you. So good evening, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Just recently, some successful events have been the annual speedball tournament, as well as winter sports awards for the high school. Also last week was NJGPA testing for all juniors. Looking ahead, Student Council is planning our next spring fundraiser. Also, Spring Spirit Week will be starting on Monday, where the first theme is Matching Monday, Twin with Your Friend. HHS Spanish Club looks forward to their field trip for all participating members, which will be in April. The World Language Honor Society induction ceremony for upcoming members will be taking place Thursday the 21st, and the National Honor Society induction ceremony will be on next Thursday the 28th. And on Saturday, March 23rd, PTO is hosting a pocketbook bingo fundraiser at Boys and Girls Club of Hawthorne. It'll be at 8:30 p.m. This month, the Library Media Center highlights Women's History Month and Irish Heritage Month. The library offers our faculty instructional materials and resources and engages students with library book displays and bulletin boards, informational materials, daily morning announcements, posted flyers, and social media postings. Congratulations to freshman Ella Alberta for recently being published in Young Writers in the SOS Sagas Hunted. She wrote a short story in Creative Writing Club titled Breathe Your Last Breath. Her short story is displayed on page 137 of the publication. Students in Ms. Russo's intermediate art class are exploring the intriguing world of surrealism through their paintings. Guided by the principles of dreamlike imagery and subconscious exploration, they are delving into the depths of their imagination to create artworks that defy logic and convention. Ms. Hallrig's criminal justice class had the opportunity to ask questions to Hawthorne Police Captains Robert King and Joseph Carr in an engaging and informative presentation. The students provided the officers with questions in advance of their visit, and the officers addressed their questions with a slide presentation. The issues addressed provided relevant, real-life knowledge, such as getting pulled over for traffic violations, tinted car window laws, crime prevention, and a day in the life of an officer. They extend their gratitude to our Hawthorne Police for sharing their time and experience with our HHS students. Lastly, attention to seniors and families. If you haven't already, be sure to fill out the project graduation forms, which can be found on our website and our weekly newsletter. Completed forms with payment can be dropped off to the HHS main office. So that's it for tonight. As always, have a great week and go Bears.
Thank you, Ms. Counselor. Dr. Cerrito, Superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you very much. So I just want to echo what Brianna shared in regard to, there's a lot of, as we get into the end of March, beginning of April and May, a lot of school events, celebrations that are coming up, ceremonies for, as she mentioned, NHS and world language induction ceremonies and things like that. A lot of those events will be coming up. So I encourage you to stay tuned to the school's weekly announcements, as well as visiting our website where all those events will be listed. Again, a lot of great activities at the end of the year. It's a busy time of year. So we look forward to all these events coming up where we can honor and celebrate our students. Also wanted to provide just a brief, and I know we're going to be approving the budget later, but I just wanted to provide a brief update on the district budget. So just bear with me as I read through some of this information. So again, I wanted to provide an update, an important update regarding the state of our district budget. As many of you know, all school districts in New Jersey received their state aid figures in late February after the governor's budget address. This year, state aid allocations were released on Thursday, February 29th. Every year, our school district, as well as all school districts, face challenges of rising costs, while limitations on district budget increases imposed by the 2% tax levy cap still exist. However, this year, those challenges are amplified due to Hawthorne's state aid being reduced by $884,720. This means we'll receive almost $900,000 less in state aid for the 24-25 school year. This dramatic cut is detrimental to our school district and our ability to provide quality instruction and essential services to our students. This cut in state aid, along with the increases over 2%, forced us to cut about $1 million out of our district budget and to remain within that 2% cap. So although I won't be sharing specifics of the budget tonight, and that's always part of our budget hearing on April 30th, I can share that the district administration worked extremely hard to find creative ways to address this reduction and limit the impact on our students and staff. That said, there's no way to cut $1 million from our budget without impacting at least some faculty, staff, and programs. And again, in our public hearing on April 30th, we'll share all the specifics related to that budget cut. I also want to share that members of this board and local leaders have personally reached out and spoken to Senator Corrado. Last Friday, Mayor Lane personally reached out to Governor Murphy to appeal this considerable reduction in our state aid. In fact, the highest reduction in Passaic County. Last week, I spoke to Donnie DiDio, Senator Corrado's chief of staff, and on Thursday, March 14th at 11 o'clock, the Senate Education Committee held a hearing on the school funding formula. So obviously, we've done, as the board, some of our local leaders have done everything we can to try to appeal this reduction. Obviously, we're prepared to move forward without a change to our state aid, but we'll continue to communicate with the governor's office and our local legislators to appeal this significant reduction. In closing, I want to thank everyone for their patience as we develop this 2024-2025 school budget. The next step is tonight for our board to approve the tentative budget and submit it to the County Office of Education for their approval. Once we've received the required approval from the county, we'll provide more specifics related to any changes for the 2024-2025 school year. Okay. The other things I just wanted to mention, I want to also congratulate all our winter sports athletes. The Winter Sports Awards took place last Monday night. I want to thank all of our student athletes and the parents for their support of our programs over the winter season. Our student athletes did an outstanding job representing our school district. I appreciate their hard work, their commitment to our athletic programs, and I congratulate all those students who received honors for their particular sports. Spring sports have already begun. Fortunately, the weather is cooperating for us this year, and we're excited to begin the spring season. And I just want to remind everyone that along with our baseball, softball, spring track, lacrosse, and golf teams, our girls flag football team will again be competing this spring. So we look forward to supporting all of those teams as we get into the spring season. Finally, I want to thank the broadcasting department and the students in the broadcasting department for putting together the highlight video for our winter sports. This year, Mrs. Abaza, who's our new broadcasting teacher, actually had 4 different videos and allowed our staff at the high school to vote on which video would be used at the sports awards. And I thought that all 4 of them were fantastic. And of course, only one could win, but I thought all 4 of them, I had a chance to see all 4 of them, they were fantastic. They really were. So just want to thank Mrs. Abaza and the students in the broadcasting department. They always do such a nice job of putting together those videos. Also, as Brianna mentioned, I want to congratulate freshman Ella Alberta. As Brianna mentioned, she was published in Young Writers in the SOS Sagas Hunted. She wrote a short story in the Creative Writing Club titled Breathe Your Last Breath. The submission was entered, and her short story is now displayed in that publication. Congratulations to Ella. Great job. I also want to congratulate Mrs. Abaza again, our broadcasting teacher. We were one of 3 high schools selected to receive a Passaic County High School Film Equipment Grant. The grant includes over $1,100 in equipment for our TV studio. Most of the expense was based on some microphones. We had some wireless microphones as well as some lavalier microphones, and then some batteries and some other items that went along with it, but about $1,100 in grant funds that will be provided to purchase these items. So congratulations to Mrs. Abaza and the broadcasting class and department. The other thing I want to just mention, Toby, just to answer your question, so the students who are participating in the NJSLA test prep are Roosevelt, Lincoln, Jefferson, and Washington. Lincoln is also doing science test prep, and they're also they're doing additionally ELA math and science, and they're just using NJSLA released materials for that test prep.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sprito. Curriculum and instruction, Ms. Aaron Trout.
Thank you, President Goff. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Curriculum and Instruction recommends the following resolutions. CI 1 through CI 4 on page 3, CI 5 through CI 7 on page 4. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Aaron Trout, seconded by Mr. Totaro. Any discussion?
Right here. Just glad to see that we're still doing right on sports. Xavier had an opportunity to participate way back when, and they do a great job with it.
It's great, bro.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cliffio?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Aaron Trout?
Yes.
Ms. Smokey Colson?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Shirley? Mrs. Otaro?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Goff?
Yes. Personnel, back to you, Ms. Aaron Trout.
Thank you, President Goff. The following resolutions are pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools. P1 through P6 on page 4, P7 through P14 on page 5, and P15 through P19 on page 6. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Aaron Trout, seconded by Mr. Palouse. Any discussion?
I just wanted to say congratulations on Mrs. Minchin's retiring.
Yes.
She's been there for many years,
Long and successful career for sure.
and absolutely, as a teacher, as a principal, and I'm sad that she's retiring, but I wish her lots of relaxation in the future.
Abby, I have one
Yes, go
comment. I'm excited to see that we filled the role for the payroll and benefits clerk. So I know we've been looking for a while, and we welcome Allison to the district.
Mrs. Murray is excited as well.
Yes, we all are, right?
Good.
Yeah, same here. Just want to wish Ms. Minchin a happy retirement. She was principal for 3 of our kids. Washington schools are homeschooled, so we're very grateful to her for the environment that she created there. Also sad to see that Ms. Bassel was leaving us. Just wishing her good luck wherever she ends up.
I would like to, I see that we have a volunteer coach on here, and this is not something that is rare, but always appreciated, especially when we look at the numbers and sense of what it costs to run things. It's detrimental when we don't have the money to do things we want to do, and it's always so refreshing when people volunteer their time. So for the volunteer golf coach, it's a huge thank you to them. And I know we have other volunteer coaches in the community that do similar things for other sports, and it's just really a testament to the Hawthorne community that they're willing to give without compensation, just to make sure that it happens. Also happy to see that there's an LDTC intern on here because they are a dying breed. Yeah, go ahead.
Just quickly, I know a couple of you mentioned about Mrs. Minchin. I just want to update you on that search process. So as of today, we have 73 applicants for that position. We have already begun the process of screening applicants. We've conducted 16 interviews to date. We're still going to continue to do that. We actually are participating in a job fair on Thursday So if there's any others that we find through that job fair, we'll do some screening interviews. And then after the spring recess, we'll be conducting committee interviews, which will include teachers, administrators, and a couple of board members to begin the process of replacing Mrs. Mention. The hope would be to appoint someone in April to begin in July. So that's the plan. I just want to give you an update of where we are in that process, but we've already begun that process. Just want to let you know. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Ms. Erentraut,
Yes.
Ms. Smokey Colton,
Yes.
Mr. Palouse,
Yes.
Mr. Shortway? No, not here, sorry. Mr. Zatara?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clivio?
Yes.
Mrs. Goff?
Yes. Finance and Administration, Mr. Clavijo.
Thank you, Madam President. Question, are we going to be going over the budget as a group during discussion, or?
Yes, during the discussion.
Okay. All right, we have some donations on page 6. Donation A, acceptance of a donation of $500 from the event Selling LLC Hawthorne Quick and Fresh for the math and science programs at Hawthorne High School. B, acceptance of the Passaic County High School Film Equipment Grant for equipment valued at $1,100 to Hawthorne High School. C, acceptance of a donation of a personalized inflatable tunnel from the Gill family for Hawthorne High School athletics. And D, acceptance of a donation of a golf bag and set of golf irons valued at approximately $200 from Ken Ross for the Hawthorne High School golf team. We're grateful to get that grant, and very thankful to all the people that donated and the organization that donated. Action items, page 7, pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Finance and Administration recommends the following resolutions: F1 through F4. On page 8, F5. On page 9, F6 to F12. And on page 10, A1 through A3. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Clavijo, seconded by Mr. Palouse. Any discussion? This would be the time that we could discuss the non-confidential parts of the budget. If anybody had any lingering questions from last week, or?
Just on what's on this.
Yeah, or from the documents that were shared with us last week, if you had anything that was still lingering. I want to say that I did ask Ms. Murray some questions about some numbers that were looking bigger, but it's just, they're being put on different lines. When you have a different person, they're just organized differently, like in a different filing cabinet, if you will. So it may, sometimes if you're looking back at the budget appropriation spreadsheet and you see that the number is larger, it may just be the case that she's just organizing a number in a different spot. That was the case when I asked.
Can I just ask a question about F1 or clarification?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It says to replace doors at Hawthorne Christian Academy.
So we get what's called non-public funds. It's federal funds that are filtered through us. It's not money that we can use. It's just money that's filtered through us. And we're required 4 times a year to have a non-public meeting with our non-public schools in the district to determine how they're going to use the funds that are sent to us for them, in essence. Okay, but it's federal funds. Again, cannot be used by our school district. They're earmarked for the non-public schools in the community. So it's Hawthorne Christian and St. Anthony's.
Okay.
And then we have these non-public meetings multiple times a year, and they determine how those funds are going to be expended. And then we have to just basically filter those funds through the federal grant through our budget to them.
So we're just a pass-through organization.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you do the bills, if you get a random month, you may see a technology fund, like computers being purchased or books. There's only certain things, like this says security funding, so
Right.
that's one of the categories that can get funneled through us.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just a model in place. The money comes through here and then it gets distributed through the public schools, to the non-publics. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't like it, just
Filipino? Like, I don't know.
It's all.
Make sure you show your hands when you're done.
It's
Joe's allowed to say
interesting.
things like
But
that.
you'll see it come up when you get a month. It's not necessarily any given month, like the aid in lieu, which is another unique thing, but,
So
I've
they
seen-
choose what they're gonna do with it, it just
Yeah.
literally goes through our account.
Correct.
yeah.
That sounds.
For no
We've
problem.
seen textbooks, we've seen
Right.
computer purchases.
Right. So you guys do the work to budget, figure it out, and give it to them, and
Well,
you don't get
yeah, I
anything
mean, the
out of
money
it.
just provides
Got
a
it.
certain amount, and then they determine how they want to spend it. and
Okay, that
that's all.
sounds
Yeah.
normal. Got it, thanks.
You're welcome.
It doesn't come out of our budget, it
Correct.
doesn't impact us
impact us.
No, I
negatively in any
understand.
way.
Thank you.
It doesn't negatively impact our
I guess
budget at all.
Yeah,
It's just a
no,
pass through.
it's not like they give us that less. Any other discussion?
On behalf of the Finance Committee, I would like to thank our BA, our superintendent, our administrators. Every March, there's no easy March, and every year they find themselves doing more with less. It's been very stressful for them. There's a lot that they're trying to balance out, and we're appreciative for everything that they do. As it relates to the cuts that we've had, for the benefit of the public, what ends up happening is that our taxes are collected, and then the state returns them to the districts in the form of state aids and in grants. It's our own money. They collect it, and then they give it back to us. Unfortunately, I've been on the board for 11 years, Finance Committee for every one of those years. There's no rhyme or reason as to how their numbers are structured. This year, with the loss that we had, that 18% represents 10% of our budget. 10% for any organization is a substantial chunk of change, and it doesn't make any sense to us. We can't make heads or tails of it in a year where we're still dealing with the after effects of the pandemic, inflation, learning loss. There's articles that based on studies that have recently come out. One is from Harvard and Stanford University. The other one is commissioned by the Murphy administration, in which they reaffirmed that after COVID, there's still significant learning loss, specifically in math. So again, 10% cut, right? It's 10% of our budget. We're dealing with inflation, learning loss, teacher shortages, and to add insult to injury, it's in the year that it gets touted that the districts are fully funded. So it just makes no sense at all. I do believe, and I think I speak on behalf of the board, that we feel that we deserve we're entitled to an explanation as to how the math works. There's no way to plan. Any organization that had to work with the structure that the school districts are working with, there's no way to forecast, there's no way to plan. You basically have 2 weeks to scramble, and if the luck of the draw came your way, good for you. If not, there's nowhere to turn, or there's nowhere to ask for an explanation. But at the very least, I think as taxpayers, as advocates of the school district that we represent, that we are entitled to, at the very least, have an explanation as to why those numbers end up being the way they are, so that we can plan around it, structure it differently, or whatnot. But again, just want to thank the administration for making the numbers work, and trying to make as small as an impact on the students that the district represents, and that's it. That's it for mine.
Thank you. I just want to let the public know, if you're watching online, that we have a large number of members of the public here with us tonight. We are very appreciative for everyone being here. Many of you are faculty members, community members, parents. We're very happy that you come and you listen directly. We don't have the answers. Unfortunately, we asked many people. Nobody knows the formula. Nobody knows the variables that go into the formula. It's very frustrating. Again, you can't plan if you don't know. We can't anticipate. We thought maybe it was things like student enrollment. We are 8 children down from this year than we were last year. We thought perhaps it had something to do with the reevaluation of the properties. we don't know the answer. We are looking, Senator Corrado doesn't know the answer. Governor Murphy doesn't seem to know the direct answer either. I can tell you some of the things I read online are not true. We are not getting merit money, or in this case, it seems as though people believe that we are being punished because we aren't achieving how some people think that we should be achieving, whereas other schools are given more money because they do better. That's not how this works. It's unfortunate that just the misinformation starts to spread like wildfire, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful to the members of the public who are working to get an answer. It's hurtful to the faculty that works tirelessly, to the administration that works tirelessly, to our students who deserve better. It's hurtful. You know, we could go on for a long time, but the people who sit up here, we are all on the side of justice, and we want every dollar for everyone in this district. And I would also like to thank the borough and the mayor. They plan on having a resolution on tomorrow evening's agenda. I will be there to thank them personally. It is resolution 5724. I have it here, and I just, can I read one part of it? Just one line of it? I'll save that for tomorrow. They're just supporting the board as members also of the same community, and they realize that the strength of the school impacts the entire community. And we are very grateful for their continued partnership and for their support and guidance through this issue. In any event, I am also grateful to the administration up here who, despite some not great news, really did some wonderful and creative things to make the impact on the student in the classroom be as minimal as possible. I know some other districts who are getting more money but having to cut $2 million despite, so while I am devastated that we are getting $900,000 less, we still were able to minimize the impact really because we have proactive and thoughtful people who are in charge, and that is a testament to the people who sit up here beside us. And so thank you all for what you guys do, and the administration and the faculty for what you guys do. We all know here, the people who sit in this room know that everyone in this town deserves it. The students deserve it, the teachers deserve it, the community deserves it. It's just the people who choose to write things online that really burn my grits. So in any event, thank you for coming this evening and being here, and we're hopeful we will get an answer, and I don't know when we'll get an answer. I'm not sure if there is an answer to be gotten, but I hope that someone will be able to say the formula includes this variable, and the reason it is $900,000 less is because of this. So as soon as we know, we will let the community know. That won't change anything. Dr. Sprito and I were hopeful that it was like a clerical error. Like, oops, it was the wrong Excel button that was pressed, but I don't think that that's the case in any event. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say on this topic? Any other questions?
Wanted to add a little bit more
Sure, Mr.
history. Going back probably, it's at least 10 years that we've been receiving money every year. But we've still, even receiving that money, we're still underfunded for at least the last 10 plus years. And then to hear that this is the first year that every district is going to be fully funded, everybody was thinking so positive, knowing that we've been underfunded for all these years, and we get a little bit of money every year, and we still end up making some cuts. And now we're going to be fully funded. So you can imagine the dismay and unhappiness when we find out we're being cut almost $900,000. It's ludicrous, it's mind-boggling. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Everybody says the same thing, but you should know that. Like, we've been getting money. What changed? Give us the answer. What changed? You already know we're underfunded. You made a statement that said that everyone's going to be funded now, and we're on the chopping block. So just keep that in mind.
Yep. Frustrating. And we start next year $848,000 less, which is, it's not a one-year problem. It becomes a forward problem. Anyway, any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Arenchow,
Yes.
Ms. Mulkey Coulson,
Yes.
Mr. Palouse,
Yes.
all right, Mr. Totaro,
Yes.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Mr. Clavio,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mrs. Goff.
Yes. Mr. Shoreway was in charge of the bills. He is not with us this evening, but he did review them and assured Dr. Sprito and I that all is well with the bills via a text message. So I would entertain a motion on his behalf to move the bills.
Second. Oh, want me to make the motion? Yeah, sure. Yes, in accordance with, you said seconds, you threw me off, Joe, I'm not gonna lie.
I said I would entertain a motion and then
Yes.
I will give you a second on that.
In advance. In accordance with NJAC 6A:23-2-11B, C3 and C4, on behalf of Mr. Shoreway, I make a motion for the approval of the March 2024 bill list and is recommended to the board to approve the bill list for this month.
Thank you, Mr. Totaro. And Mr.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Carr, for your seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Smokey Colton.
Yes.
Mr. Palouse.
Yes.
Mrs. Zataro.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Mr. Clevio.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes.
Ms. Aaron
Yes.
Mrs. Goff.
Yes. Mr. Totaro, back to you for buildings and grounds.
Thank you, Madam President. Pursuant to the recommendation of superintendents of schools, the Committee on Buildings and Grounds recommends the following resolutions. Page 10, BG1, continued on to page 11, BG2 and BG3. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second. Moved by Mr. Totaro, seconded by Ms. Aaron Trout. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Palouse.
Yes.
Mr. Zataro.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Mr. Clevio.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes.
Ms. Aaron Trout.
Yes.
Ms. Smokey Colton.
Yes.
Mrs. Goff.
Yes. Mr. Doyle, policy.
Thank you, Madam President. Before I attempt to move the action items, I just want to provide a little bit of context. I mean, it looks like there's a lot going on here, so I just want to let everybody know this is only the first reading of this policy alert. All 14 of the policies and the 5 regulations posted in the alert are all revisions. There's no new policies or regulations for approval on tonight's agenda. One of the policies listed was abolished as it was addressed in other policies and included in our policy manual. So again, it's a first reading. It has to be a second reading. We still have time if we do have to make any revisions. That being said, pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Committee on Policy recommends the following resolutions. PO-1 on page 12. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Doyle, seconded by Mr. Clevio. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zataro.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Mr. Clevio.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes.
Ms. Aaron Trout.
Yes.
Ms. Smokey Colton.
Yes.
Mr. Palouse.
Yes.
Mrs. Goff.
Yes. Committee and liaison reports. Mr. Carr, we'll start with you, legislative.
Thank you, Madam President. On March 11th, the Assembly Education Committee approved Stably SFRA property wealth calculations, Bill number 8942. This would modify the formula for a district's local share in the SFRA to replace the current pre-budget year equalized valuation with a 5-year average of equalized valuation. New Jersey School Boards Association testified in support of the bill, noting its potential to stabilize year-to-year increases in equalized valuation used for determining local share and in turn stabilize year-to-year state aid reductions for certain districts. Bill next heads to the Assembly Appropriations Committee for further consideration. Maybe they'll have an answer. Tax cap relief for certain districts experiencing state aid reductions. Bill A3452. This would provide the following additional school district tax levy growth cap adjustments. In the 2024-2025 school year, for a school district experiencing a state aid reduction, an increase in amount equal to the district's state aid reduction. In 25 and 26 school year, and thereafter for a school district experiencing a state aid reduction, and that is pending below adequacy pursuant to NJSA 18A 7-70, an increase to raise a general fund tax levy up to the amount necessary for the districts to be spending at adequacy. The bill will require, however, that if a school district increases its tax levy because the district experienced a reduction in state school aid in the 24-25 school year, or because it experienced a reduction in state school aid and is spending below adequacy, in any school year after the 24-25 school year, the district would be required to gain New Jersey Department of Education approval to reduce the following in the budget year: total number of teachers employed by the school district, and the total amount of general fund appropriations for either instruction or supportive services. The bill next heads to the Assembly Appropriations Committee, where it is scheduled for a vote on March 14th. State Education Committee approved the bill's Senate counterpart S2434 on February 15th, which now awaits further consideration in the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. And that bill was amended 3452 on March 14th. The committee amended the bill to remove positions of the bill permitting a school district to increase its adjusted tax levy up to the amount of its school aid reduction in the 23-24 school year, provide that a district which is losing state school aid and is spending below adequacy in any school year after the 24-25 school year may increase its adjusted tax levy to the amount of the district's pre-budget year local share after application of all the allowable adjustments under current law. Prohibit a school district increasing its adjusted tax levy pursuant to the provisions of the bill from reducing its total number of school district employees. The bill is referred to the committee. Prohibited districts from reducing its total number of teachers, and remove provisions of the bill that prohibit a school district increasing its adjusted tax levy pursuant to the provisions of the bill from reducing its total amount of general fund appropriations for either instruction or support services. That's going to the governor. Stakeholder feedback on educational adequacy report, Bill 84048. This would require the governor and the NJDOE to engage a diverse group of stakeholders, including school administrators, staff, students, parents, and other community members, in developing the next educational adequacy report to identify the resources that are not currently adequately funded through state school aid. The administration would also be required to consult various school finance experts for recommendations on revising various SFRA parameters updated in each educational adequacy report. NJSBA supports this bill and will be heading to the Assembly for further consideration. Second enrollment count for state school aid, 84049, would require that resident enrollment for determining state school aid pursuant to SFRA be based on the average of the number of students enrolled in the district on 1, the last day of school prior to October 16th of the current school year, and 2, the last school day prior to February 2nd of the current school year. Non-CDL drivers for small school buses, 82180. This is intended to alleviate the school bus driver shortage, which would create a Type S school bus certificate to be issued by the Motor Vehicle Commission. Certificate would authorize a person to operate a Type S school bus to transport children to and from school without obtaining a CDL, passenger endorsement, or school bus endorsement. The Type S school bus is a transportation vehicle that has a gross vehicle weight rating of 3,000 pounds or more, and which is originally designed by the manufacturer with a maximum seating capacity of 9 passengers or less. Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee on March 11th, the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee approved the following bills. Open Reform S2930 makes several changes to the state's Open Public Records Act, including modifies the conditions under which a records custodian has to respond to a request for records, allowing the custodian discretion to deny duplicative or anonymous requests. Encourages and allocates funds to assist public agencies in moving documents online, making these records searchable via an online database to the extent feasible. Creates a uniform and comprehensive definition of personal identifying information, which in many cases is redacted by the records custodian. Establish specific timelines for responses to records requests occurring under various circumstances, such as when a record may be unavailable or in storage, and adds additional specificity and clarity to the items of information which are exempt from public access. Prohibits records requests made by 4 data brokers who take the information they gather and use it for a commercial purpose. Transfer the responsibility for violations from the custodian to the public agency, and allows, in limited circumstances, for the courts to issue a protective order to shield the agency from harassment. Alter the composition of the Government Records Council, adding more public members, establishing staggered 5-year terms, and annual salaries for the members of the council. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Mr. Clavijo, Finance and Administration.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee met. The bulk of the conversation surrounded around the budget. Something else that was discussed and something to investigate once we get past the budget season is potentially moving the election back to April. It might be that based on new legislation, if the election gets moved to April and we stay under the 2%, there is no need to go to the public. And if we do have to go over the 2%, we have the option of going to the public at that point. Whereas with the current system that we have under the November election, we cannot go over that 2%. The numbers you have to cut whatever it is that you have to cut. Doesn't matter how you get to that number, but you can't pose it to the public to fund the difference. So potentially moving it back to April will allow for the district to go to the public if we need to go above that 2%. So that's something to investigate and further consider. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Clavijo. Mr. Doyle, policy. I know you gave a nice update.
Yeah, nothing really further to report other than what we previously discussed tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Erin Trout, Council Liaison and Curriculum and Instruction.
Thank you, President Goff. As you mentioned, for the council, our mayor and council are introducing a resolution tomorrow evening, Resolution 5724, urging the governor to restore state aid for Hawthorne schools. So that is happening at tomorrow's meeting. Another update from the town, the Hawthorne Green Team lectures were announced. There's one tonight. Obviously, we're all here. But the next one will be April 24th regarding the Hawthorne's recycling program. So that's what's going on in the town. And C&I, we did not meet, so no updates for that.
Thank you, Ms. Erin Trout.
Thank you.
For New Jersey School Boards Association, I do have a few things. They recently sent us out, actually this morning, their spring conference headline, which is Learn Game-Changing Strategies for School Safety. This will be on May 10th in Princeton Junction, New Jersey, if anybody is interested in going. Additionally, they've just started a few new things that I just want to bring to your attention. I mean, I get inundated with emails, but they've really amped up their efforts to try and get us information. They do something called Daily Clips, and they've been sending out relevant articles, a lot of them related to, and some I even heard you quote tonight, Mr. Clavijo, the state aid funding. And they put anything relative to school board business in there from around the state. In addition, they were calling for more entries for the innovation in special education. I know that last year Ms. Erin Trout brought that up, and we tried to get it off the ground, but unfortunately the entries are due latest March 21st, so I'm not sure we'll have the time to get that off the ground. They also do something NJSBA knew called The Boardroom, which is a podcast. And I think they do it once a month, but they let you know when they're going to do it. You can call in, they give you the topics, and they give you the people who are going to be on it. They also, I think it's archived, so you can listen to it if you're a podcast person. And then lastly, they have recently announced the NJSBA workshop dates for next year. If you're thinking about fall already or trying to plan some time off, it is going to be at the Atlantic City Convention Center from October 21st through October 24th. And they're actually looking for students to perform. So if we know any students, any of our own students, that they're looking for dancing, singing, they're looking for entertainment for the NJSBA conference, if we can think of anybody that we think would be beneficial for that. That is all I have for NJSBA. Passaic County School Boards Association, Ms. Mulkey-Colton.
So we did not meet this last month. However, they did hold their Passaic County Unsung Heroes dinner. And I just wanted to congratulate Senior Max Matos.
Yes.
He received the prestigious Passaic County Unsung Hero Award, recognizing his exceptional acts of kindness, leadership, resilience, and dedication to serving others in our school community. So congratulations, Max, and we are very proud of you. Go Bears. It's awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Mulkey-Colton. Mr. Palouse, HEF, CPAC, and PTO.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a few things, but I'm going to start off with one conflict so we can explain it a little bit better. So apparently Roosevelt School is having a give back for the Hawthorne Theater. I'm sorry, LMS. Correct. Yep, I apologize. LMS is having a give back April 5th, 6th, and 7th. You just mentioned Lincoln Middle School, and a portion will be donated back. The conflict is that Jefferson is also having a give back for a specific. It's on April 6th. So we have 4, 5, and 6 for middle school. I'm sorry, 5, 6, and 7 for the middle school, but on the 6th, specifically at 10 a.m. for $20. Mention Jefferson School. You'll get a 46-ounce soda. 46-ounce popcorn, a 16-ounce soda, and the two movies are Kung Fu Panda 4 and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So again, it's a little bit of a conflict, but specifically at 10 a.m. on Saturday the 6th is for Jefferson School, and then the 5th, 7th, and partially on the 6th, you can go for Lincoln Middle School.
Do you want to use the whiteboard?
I think I'm just going to forget about everything else because I'm going to burn out after that. But I'll stick with Lincoln Middle School. This Friday, 7 p.m., they're hosting a Too Much Sauce dance. Students are encouraged to wear basketball attire. There will be pizza, juice, chips for sale. If any LMS parents can help chaperone, please email lincolnbearspto@gmail.com. And also, PTO has teamed up with Uncle Bob's Kettle Corn for the latest fundraiser. We'll be selling popcorn in a variety of flavors through the end of April. Please support us. If you could reach out to us via email or find an LMS student and help reach our goals of selling 200 bags of popcorn. And last but not least for LMS, also grab a student who's selling Gertrude Hawk bars around town. If you buy a bar, it'll help support them to raise money for the 6th grade field trip to medieval times and the 7th grade field trip to Nyota Hills. So again, if you can help LMS, that would be appreciated. Roosevelt School, there is they're collecting food for a food drive, community food drive. You can bring your product to through March 26th. It's Martha's Pantry here in Hawthorne, and the type of food that is needed is any type of canned food, dried fruits, small bottles of detergent and fabric softener. And for more information, you can email roospto50@gmail.com. Another fundraiser will be at Yella's fundraiser. 20% will be given back to Roosevelt School. It's tomorrow, so hopefully you're watching live. You'll get to go tomorrow. It's 1103 Goffle Road. If you're ordering online, use the code Roosevelt, and if you're going in person to pick up, again, just mention Roosevelt, and they will make a 20% donation back. And finally, at Roosevelt is Harlem Wizards, which, if you don't know what Harlem Wizards is, it's similar to the Harlem Globetrotters. They're going to be on April 13th. Tickets are on sale. And again, if you can go to, everything I mentioned is usually on Facebook. So if you can just, go to all these different PTO web pages, you can get all this information. And then I am going to round it up here with, I believe, CPAC. A lot of information tonight. Part of it is on Facebook here. Again, you can find this on Facebook, but Hawthorne NJ CPAC posted some new things that are coming out. It's called Autism College Connection, and it's I'll just read it here. Hydroponic farms and shipping containers, which will provide job training for students, intellectual and developmental disabilities, peer mentoring, support for students, social skills, and typical classroom. You can join them on campus. Regular tutoring and extra time for testing. And it says, where is this all happening? It's at Bergen Community College. So Bergen is launching Bergen Community College is launching some new programs to support students with disabilities and continue the traditional accommodation programs. Again, a lot more information is on here. I do have 2 flyers. If you go on here, you'll see that 2 of them that are coming up, they're going to be virtual on March 20th, which again is tomorrow, A Great Leap, and it's for basically learning about options for autistic students as well as other developmental students for after high school. So again, Great Leaps is going to be for tomorrow night, and then on March 27th, there's an additional one. I believe it's going to be around 2 hours, and again, it's learning, opportunities that are considered right here in your own backyard at Bergen Community for classroom supports and giving students an opportunity to continue their education on the college level. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Palouse. I would also like to say that thanks to a suggestion by Ms. Mulkey-Colton last month, Dr. Sprito, I believe we got the dates, some of the dates for CPAC, and we're trying to roll those into the monthly announcements, weekly announcements through the different schools.
Right.
CPAC is the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee. It sort of stands on its own, and so it wasn't necessarily tied to any one school, so it wasn't necessarily being promoted by any one school, but we are trying to funnel the dates through all of the schools whenever possible in those weekly and monthly newsletters.
And you know what, I will also promote again the color run, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. I've been talking about it for months, so we're really close now, so it's only fair that I mention that another time.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as well.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Totaro, Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you, Madam President. Buildings and Grounds Committee met on March 12th to discuss various items taking place throughout the district. Over at Lincoln Middle School, we installed the windscreens along the front fence. Throughout the district, gas pipes were installed to all of the generators. Starting on March 11th, the vent pipes for the generators began to be installed at the high school and at Washington. As a result of the brick facade repairs at the high school, building assessments have started at the high school as a whole and at Washington, and will be done throughout each of the schools throughout the district in the near future. Also, again, over at LMS, we are obtaining quotes to repair wall graphics in the cafeteria. And on March 12th, Precision Sprinkler started phase 1 of the sprinkler repairs needed on the baseball field. Phase 1 includes the cutting and capping of the leaking zones, mounting of the sprinkler controls by the scoreboard, and installing the water spigot for the infield. In addition, repairs at the new BOE office have begun. You might have noticed the exterior brick has been repaired, and we're eager for them to be completed. We'll keep everyone apprised once everything is finalized. And then lastly, we obtained quotes for the vape detection system at LMS and the high school. We're still waiting a few more quotes to come in, and then we'll review them all accordingly and determine next steps. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Totaro. I just want to piggyback off of the first thing that you commented on, the windscreens at the middle school. There have been some questions online about what the tarps are. Those are windscreens that actually was born of a suggestion by a member of the public who came to a meeting several months ago. She brought up the point that the visibility of that location, they're just there. You can see the children, you can see what they're doing. There's really no seclusion there. So that front street, Hawthorne Ave, was the windscreen was put up more so for a visual protection than protect them from the wind, obviously. But again, that was a suggestion, a comment from a member of the community who came to the meeting. So we always thank and appreciate any commentary, suggestions, and whenever possible, we try to support those comments and suggestions with action. So thank you for that, Mr. Totaro. Public be heard. At this time, members of the public may ask questions or make comments on educational issues or school matters. Mr. Houston.
Not good when the teacher sign this thing?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Rick.
Well, it looks like there's others for you to choose from.
Another 10 cents off your budget. Okay, Barry Houston, 235 Washington Ave. I represent the Hawthorne roller hockey. And just a couple shout outs. We have Tommy Corpex, who's on the Lakeland Hawthorne ice hockey team. He was second all county. We also have six students that go to, say, County Tech, that play ice hockey. Well, it's not students that go, but 6 of those. And they won the county championships this year. I don't know if you heard or not, but our senior team and our junior team both won their championships. And we also have, I think, 5 or 6 of our players are going to represent New Jersey in the United States roller hockey division. So, I mean, we're probably the least known group. I mean, a lot of people don't even know we have a rink at the time. I wish I could have kept that secret, but for other reasons. But like I said, we have a good group. The kids love it. We teach a lot of kids. We've had a lot of successful kids go on, being doctors, lawyers, whatever. And I did admit last September we had one bank robber, but There's always that one there. I was a few minutes late. I don't know if I missed your approval of my request for rink usage.
It does not appear on this agenda, no.
I know it doesn't appear on it. Okay. Is there a reason why, or just?
Of course.
So we received the request. There's a couple of reasons that we sent it back to the Board of Rec. Because of the scope, because you were asking for April through September 30th.
Right.
It's really tough for us to approve that large of a scale of a request, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, the spring season is extremely busy down there with baseball, track. We have our high school and middle school track teams. Our lacrosse team plays down there. Our flag football team. In the winter it's very different. We don't have things going on down there, but in the spring it's a very different situation. It's extremely busy down there. As for September, I can't begin to approve things for September. We don't even have schedules for those seasons yet for football and soccer and those types of things. So I did send it back to the Board of Rec for a little clarification in terms of specific dates. I actually got an email back from Mr. Pasquale that I'll read you the email. This is regarding the request. The Board of Rec will need to look into the insurance and supervision questions. We'll also try to get a better definition on the usage. I suggest the Board of Ed hold off on acting on this until the Board of Rec gets some further clarity. So that's kind of where we are with your request.
Well, as far as the insurance, it's our standard insurance. All of our players are covered, our coaches are covered. I tore my rotator cuff and I was covered. It's a secondary insurance for everybody.
It's just not something that we've ever had, not since I've been here, that we had used from April to September. So again, I sent it back just for clarity, and Mr. Pasquale basically said that he would.
Okay. Like I said, we have interest of younger kids, which we haven't had a midget team for like 4 or 5 years now, which surprisingly hasn't hurt our numbers in the juniors and seniors. But we've had the interest of younger kids, and I just wanted to have optional dates. I'm not going to be down there 3 days a week for the next 6 months or whatever. But I know through Jane talking to Art Mazaka, he wanted specific dates. I'm like, well, go to the Almanac, tell me when it's going to rain. I'll knock those dates.
Well, and that's,
I understand you got school events.
That's the challenge, is there's so many things going on there.
Which I get. Like I said, if we show up and there's something going on, we don't go down. We've done that in the past. We're not looking to cause problems with other events going on and whatnot. At night, it's usually we get down there like 6:30, 7 o'clock. I don't think you have.
We have flag football at night.
Okay, so you do have flag. Okay.
We do. They practice at night because those kids typically play other sports as well. So they go to their other sports after school and then go to flag football.
Is that a conflict with their practice and me practicing, or?
Again,
normally games we definitely stay away if there's like any kind of soccer, football, obviously, or whatever. Yeah. So, but all right, like I said, I'll talk to them. But if during the course of the next 6 months, if I go down there at night, like nobody's around, I turn the lights on, am I going to have the Gestapo chasing me around the rink?
Again, I think to be honest, you should speak to Mr. Pasquale on the Board of Rec first, and then we can talk further about it.
Well, are you guys going to have a problem if I'm down there?
Well, you have to get approval like anybody else, right? Any group that uses our facility has to get approval from the board. So just like on this agenda, I'll give you an example, right? JV baseball, their field's being renovated. They asked us for dates and times. I coordinated with them. They worked through Mr. Mazaka. They gave us the dates and times. We coordinated with our baseball program, and we were able to provide that. So it's not that we're opposed to providing some time, but we just need some more specifics. That's all.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Houston. And thank you for highlighting those students and the Lakeland team. Mr. Corfix was also captain, I believe, voted captain of the Lakeland team.
Yes, he was, yes.
Which is an awesome thing for a Hawthorne. Yeah, come on back up.
He was recognized at our awards ceremony as well.
Yes,
I didn't make it.
Thank you. Also, I don't know, on that subject, I couldn't drag Costello here. Is there an agreement set up with Lakeland for next year? Have you heard of it?
Yes.
It is.
It's continuing. That hockey co-op with Lakeland and Waldorf is continuing.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. But it's pretty cool that a Hawthorne kid is the captain of a Lakeland team.
Yes.
Any other public? Nobody wants to come up and chat with us? Okay, I chatted enough for everybody, I guess. Be it resolved, the Hawthorne Board of Education convenes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to skip ahead. General comments, questions from the board, also new business, old business. We're going to do all three. Just let us know what it is. Let's start with you, Mr. Palouse. You looked ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to wish Alex a happy birthday.
Okay. Happy birthday, Alex.
Thank you. 11 years on the board, this is the first time it coincides with my birthday.
It's your 11th birthday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll make it quick.
It happens.
Anything else?
Nah, that's all I have to say.
Ms. Aaron Trout, any comments?
Yes, I have a few.
Sure.
First, I had the pleasure of reading to the preschool classes today for Celebrate Reading Week at Jefferson with Mrs. Baber. Actually invited me for the 3rd year. Thank you so much. And it was really nice. There were students in there today that I've seen all 3 years, and we were able to talk about how effective the program is. It was just so cool to see the progress that some of them have made, and I've been there really just to read, but thank you again for inviting me. I know last month I highlighted a few alumni, so I just wanted to, there are 2 that I wanted to talk about. Products of our school system. Paul Dewar, of course, who was our student rep last year, his 7th book was published. And I know he spent some time at Roosevelt this week talking about his book. So congratulations to Paul. Also, another alumni, Ethan Ramos, he qualified for the 2024 Paris Olympics as a member of the Puerto Rico national wrestling team. I know he was an all-state wrestler here and is in the Olympics. So
That's awesome.
Big accomplishment. And last, I just wanted to highlight that Dr. Morell, former board member, a Hawthorne community member, did speak at the Passaic County Commissioners meeting last week to try to get some clarification on their contributions. I know that this comes up a lot with Passaic County Tech and the costs and the funding formula, and there were really not clear answers there as well. So I know we're doing it as a board, the council and the mayor, and we really, if the public wants to help, really continue to keep putting pressure on the commissioners, our governor, whoever is elected, to provide us the answers that we are requesting. So that concludes my comments.
Aaron Trout. Mr. Cesaro.
Yes, thank you. One thing, this is a general comment, as we're kind of evaluating, I know that's something we could dial into a little bit more, but a colleague of mine shared that we may want to consider the differences in costs as it pertains to Strauss SMA versus the NJSBA. I don't know what the thoughts are on that, but it's something I figured I'd throw out there.
I feel like when Dr. Morell joined the board, we did an audit.
So I can tell you I used both school boards and Strauss SMA. Strauss SMA, I can tell you, is much more comprehensive in my experience. This is just the experience that I had using both. In my previous district, we were using school boards and we transitioned to Strauss SMA.
Gotcha.
They provide a very comprehensive program, and we did an audit, not through school boards, through Strauss SMA. They actually did that audit for us when Dr. Morell was here, of our entire policy manual.
Yep.
So, listen, it's something we can look into. I'm sure, I don't know what the cost difference is, to be honest. I haven't looked at it in a while.
Yeah, it was just something to consider because
Just
of that. I
just
don't
give you
know
my personal.
what that really does to us
Sure.
from a dollar cent standpoint, but something to consider.
Yeah, I can look into the cost. I don't know exactly. I haven't looked into it in a while, so I can take a look at it. But.
Yep. And secondly, to echo Ms. Aaron Trout, I think many of us you may have seen on social media or in different capacities trying to advocate on behalf of our district. I can tell you myself and Mr. Carr, as of recent this weekend, met with Senator Corrado and the Assemblyman to further advocate on behalf of the school district. And the only thing, many parents have reached out to me asking, what can we do? And the only thing I can encourage anybody within in the district is to reach out to the governor's office, email, phone call. We can only make positive change by what we put the efforts in on behalf of our community to speak to our elected officials to do something about it. If we stay silent, then we're going to get exactly what we put into it. So I can't stress enough, pick up the phone, call. We made a change. We actually made a change to the point where we actually got a call back, and that in itself is positive, right? And it just goes to show you when you put yourself out there a little bit that people will listen, but we have to put ourselves out there. So I can't stress enough don't stop now, even though we recognize that this may not be a change that's going to be implemented this year. We don't know how that could potentially affect us in the future, and it all starts by us continuing to advocate on behalf of the district, so please call.
Thank you. Mr. Clevio.
The only thing I'll add to that is that, even if you have no kids in the school system, 55% of our property taxes go to the schools. Even if you have no kids in the school system, there's a direct correlation between the quality of your schools and the equity in your real estate, right? So it's, we're paying for it via our taxes, and it's tied into our equity. So, you absolutely need to advocate on behalf of the town, of the town in general. Just general comments. Want to congratulate the high school athletic department for their winter sports award ceremony. It was one of the best ones that I've been part of. It was fantastic. Also, thank you, Ms. Goff, for forwarding the invitation to the Wax Museum. That's happening this Friday over at Washington School. I'm going to do my best to stop in. Mr. Imprano, I think, knows something about that program. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Clevio. Dr. Sperito would like to.
Yeah, I don't usually comment, but I forgot to mention one thing. If you haven't seen it, Bears Decisions on Instagram, take a look. This time of year, all the students are now being accepted into the colleges. And congratulations to Brianna, who's now going to Seton Hall. Congratulations, Bri. Go Pirates. But just if you haven't had a chance, take a look. It's really great to see where all of our students will be headed in the fall. And I failed to mention it during my reports. I just want to encourage everybody to take a look.
Okay, just coming real quick. So she's actually got accepted to Seton Hall, but she got accepted in the 3-and-3 program. That program allows her to get both a bachelor's and a law degree in the time period of 6 years. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice.
That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes, thank you. Some general comments. I echo everything that's being said, obviously, tonight about our budget woes and what's going on. But just to shift gears from the doom and gloom, we'll talk about something positive. So last meeting, someone had made a suggestion that we try and get involved and have our high school students participate in the North Jersey Student of the Week program. I'm happy and excited to say that Dr. Sperito immediately embraced that idea, and he must have had some conversations with our high school administrators, because in the short time from last meeting, roughly 4 weeks, we had 2 candidates roughly a week after that meeting, 2 students, one of which who ended up getting the second most votes that week. I think there were 5 candidates that week. And currently this week we have another Hawthorne High School student who's in the running. I'm leaving names out for now, but I encourage you guys to check it out, northjersey.com, Student of the Week. It's a great opportunity for our high school students to showcase accomplishments that they've achieved in their short lives, and it's obviously positive for the district. So good stuff, please check that out. And my daughter, going back to Seton Hall, she's currently in Seton Hall in the 3+3 program, not for law, but she'll get her, God willing, an occupational therapy. So excellent school, excellent program, wish you lots of luck.
Mr. Carr.
Just general comments. It was very disheartening to see that we have lost $884,000 in extraordinary aid this year. Out of the 19 school districts listed in Passaic County, 5 lost funding. West Milford, Pompton Lakes, Passaic Valley Regional, Lakeland, and Hawthorne taking the biggest hit at 18.5%. I think the biggest challenge for us is, we're looking to retain our students, and when you look at when you look at extraordinary aid of $71 million going to Passaic County Tech, how do you compete with that? It's very disheartening, very challenging for everybody up here. So I urge, again, every parent in this district, every teacher in this district, every taxpayer in this district to please reach out to Governor Murphy's office and let him know how you feel about this. And hopefully we can get this rectified.
Thank you, Mr. Carr.
Abby, can I go out of order?
Of course.
So I'm more of a counter puncher, if you guys know boxing. Start first. But just kind of, building on what he's talking about here and what you mentioned earlier, about the misinformation out there that we are losing funding because of our, because of scores or whatever it may be, or performance, right? But that's a prime example of of the opposite happening, right? So
Right.
you get a huge amount of money, $30 million, whatever it was, the county comes through with another 30 million, and they build a big program up there. They attract more students. They take more money from the 19 districts that are losing students. They grow. Then they get more money, and they grow some more, and they keep drawing more and more. It's a spiral, and if we don't stop it, that spiral is going to go downhill until all of the other districts are basically just satellites of PCTI.
It's death by paper cut, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's the opposite of what people are thinking out there, that they're being rewarded and then growing, and we are being, again, it's not a correlation, but in this case, when we lose money, it affects our ability to grow, and we have to cut things. So it's just don't be misinformed. If you have a question, don't go on Facebook and look for the answers. Reach out to people that are involved and kind of have a better understanding, because we are one community and we're all here doing the same thing. And our paycheck up here is triple zeros. We do this because we care, and to be, it's kind of like a smack in the face that all this volunteer time that we're putting in is frowned upon, like we're doing something wrong. We need to look at the funding formula for PCTI, and we need to go after the county and the state and everybody that's kind of involved with this decision making, because they can't keep growing, because it's just going to keep punishing districts like us.
And this is not an anti-PCTI settlement
No.
in any way, shape, or form.
No.
It's just absolutely not equitable across the board in any way, shape, or form.
Dr. Morell has put out, tirelessly tries to put out information to extinguish whatever misinformation is out there on social media. She is such an absolute rock star when it comes. She has so much knowledge, but just the numbers alone are staggering. The two other vocational schools that are local to us, Morris County and Bergen County, have half the number of students and receive. Passaic County currently is spending, I believe, $7 million. They've given the same $7 million to PCTI. The county has given the same $7 million, not a dollar more, despite doubling the number of students attending there for the past decade or more. While other counties, Bergen and Morris County, give $34 million and I believe $36 million respectively, and have half the number of students attending those schools. So it's literally, if you just look at statistics, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that's really the big issue, is that.
Just kind of, I'm sorry.
No, I believe the county administrator responded to Dr. Morell's comment regarding that, saying that Passaic County does the bare minimum, and
that number is what is required by.
bare minimum,
That is
and-
$7,044,000. I
Yeah.
happen to know what the number is.
Yep.
$7,044,000 that they contribute since about 2005. It hasn't
Yeah.
changed.
It's 20 years.
And
yeah.
that is what's required that they provide, and they don't provide a penny more, and they haven't changed it. That's a fact.
Right.
It's so unacceptable, right? Right, but they are playing by the facts. I guess,
Additionally,
but-
tying the two state aid,
Yeah.
the state aid problem, I guess, and the PCTI enrollment together, the students that go there but are Hawthorne residents we're not able to count them in our Hawthorne numbers as enrolled students here, but we are paying for them to attend PCTI. So they don't show up in our enrollment numbers, so it looks like we're down 117 students, but they're going there and we're paying to bus them and we're paying to educate them there, but we're not allowed to count them in our numbers. They're allowed to count them in their numbers, and we're getting less. It is just such a ruinous, I can't, there's no sense I can make of it, and
that's almost $3 million, right?
2.2 or something
What's
like
that?
tuition alone, yeah.
Passaic County Tech for busing and tuition. Yeah.
From our district.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of go along with that $7 million that they have not changed. If you talk to the county commissioners, they sell it to you like that's a great thing, because they have not raised your taxes, but they are raising your taxes. They're
Right.
raising your taxes
As a local.
indirectly,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
It's an
at the
indirect
top.
tax, because instead of them increasing out of their budget, they're passing it along to all the local budgets. So if it's 2.2 million or 2.4 million, whatever it might be, they're only giving $7 million. And then districts like us are giving 2.2 million. And Clifton and everybody else are giving, so it's an indirect, and that's what, they're getting money from every different angle. They're getting very little from Passaic, but they're getting huge amounts from the state, extraordinary aid, everything else. And then on top of it, they can't give us a little bit of a, I know they gave us a little pat in the back this year.
Last year.
Last year.
Not this year.
And was it $500? Something like that.
Yeah.
Reduction last year.
Right, out of the
It
12.
was 11.2, now it's 10.8.
Right, right. Not that you know it, but,
I-
but again, the point is, you have to be informed and you have to ask questions, because if you listen to the county commissioners telling you, we haven't raised your taxes, we're doing a great job, it's not the truth. It's an indirect tax and it's costing us more than if they would kick in a little bit more and help us and put pressure on PCTI to kind of give us a little bit of a break, because how much is too much?
The most infuriating part of all of this, we could go on all night, like we could go on the road with this show, but the most infuriating part as a mom, as a teacher, is that the students who I believe should be going to a VOTEC school, who are not college prep students, cannot get in. They are cherry picking the best of the best athletes and the best of the best academia. And the children who truly would thrive in a VOTEC environment are not able to get in. That infuriates me beyond as an educator, because 96% of the students who go to PCTI come out and go to college. They have lost their vision.
Our councilman, Mike Sciarra, who was on this board, I'll quote him, what used to be a collaboration
Yeah.
is now a competition.
It's
right? We're
really
competing
unbelievable.
instead of working together.
I mean, I personally know students who wanted to go for the cosmetology program, and college is probably not in their future, and they did not get in. Like, it doesn't even, again, I just think that don't compute are, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating.
I just have to comment, the inequities altogether, as far as funding. I think one of the harshest blows is to the troop morale for the staff,
Yeah.
right? When you think about our teachers, it's a negotiations here, and it's like a punch in the gut for all of us that believe in the district, that are fighting for the district, that believe in this thing called Hawthorne, and the inequities in the funding formulas all the way around. They just handcuff you. They hamstring you. So yeah, I agree. We could go on.
We have to change it at election.
Yeah.
We've elected these individuals, so if we choose to continue to go down this road, unless we do something about it.
Ms. Mulkey-Colson.
No pressure.
He could be about anything.
I'm obviously new to the board. I would be in the audience right now, standing up, yelling, public comments. There is no formula. What is it?
I know.
It's politics. I thought I was joining the board to be not in politics. I don't like politics. And yet here we are, what a year to be on the board.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no rhyme or reason other than how we vote.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I did want to say thank you to Mr. Carr for talking to our seniors. My son took the criminal justice class, and that's wonderful. Yeah. It's a little circle.
We enjoy that, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's always nice when our community members can go into our high school or elementary school, read wherever it is, and give back, and high school alumni then on the board, and then reading to our kids. It's nice, and I think that's what Hawthorne's about and what we're all fighting for. Perfect example. So that's it.
Thank you. I would just like to thank all the people who were responsible for the new website. I feel like I've finally gotten it under control a little bit. I feel like I just learned the last website, but I will learn this new one. And we will be rolling out the new student logins over the summer, right? They're going to have the same handle, hawthorneschools.org, so much shorter than the new one. I'd also like to, as the most veteran board member up here, it makes me feel very old, just draw attention to a couple of things. The 9th of March, the Hawthorne High School and other local high schools hosted the SATs, And while that may be something that is so far off the radar of some of us with younger students or with older students or with no students, I'd just like to thank everyone for the continued commitment to having it locally. When I joined the board 12 years ago, it was not being given at our high school, and we looked at that as a barrier to the test. And it wasn't easy. They had to apply and petition College Board, but they did it. And little things like that, like little changes like that, our students deserve to take the test in their own high school, with proctors that they're familiar with and rooms that they're familiar with. Unfortunately, my son didn't get to take it here. But in any event, very, very fortunate little things like that have changed over the last decade. Additionally, so many wonderful things going on in the schools. My son is a hero and cool kid, and he gets to go to the middle school. My daughter is a sidekick, and she gets to go to the elementary schools. There are just so many wonderful things that are happening here. For those who don't have children those ages, you just don't, like, there's so many things you don't know that you don't know. And like Ms. Counselor said, the National Honor Society induction is on the 28th. I will be happily speaking, and I will be a parent this time of one of the inductees. So it's really, there are a lot of amazing things happening in Hawthorne, and we're all very proud to be a part of the Hawthorne team. Anything else before No? Okay. Be it resolved that the Hawthorne Board of Education convenes an executive session to discuss exempt matters pertaining to pending litigation. Be it further resolved that the anticipated executive session will be for 45 minutes in duration and that public action may or may not be taken. Be it further resolved that the minutes of the executive session will be made available upon a determination by the board. The disclosure of such minutes will not detrimentally affect any right or interest of the board, and the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please come back. We like company. A motion to go into private.
Motion.
Ooh. Motion by Miss Erin Trout, seconded by Mr. Carr. Roll call.
Mr. Dotaro?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Clavio?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Mulkey Colton?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mrs. Gum?
Yes. Enjoy your break, everybody.
Have a good night.